Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Farah and today I'm gonna take you for a walk around my neighborhood here in Stavanger, Norway. And it's a very beautiful and sunny day, so you will get to see a lot of nature. And yeah, hopefully we can just chat a little bit afterwards about my life here. So follow me. As you can see, guys, look at this beautiful view of the ocean. This is like an area where I have seen reindeers and I've seen squirrels. There's a lot of birds living here. It's a very beautiful area. And of course you can swim. There is a ramp ahead of us. Hi, so I've managed to find a place where I can be by myself, and today I just want to talk about a little bit about my life. So I've been living in Norway for over 32 years. I came here when I was 10 years old, and the thing is that, I already mentioned in my earlier video that I had a little bit, not a little, I actually had a lot of problems when I came here because I wasn't accepted in school. But it's also because, other things like I just discovered that I'm a highly sensitive person. And when I moved to Norway, so a lot of my life changed. Like, I used to be very attached to my like aunties and my neighborhood in Iraq. And I think like when you remove a very sensitive child from a safe environment and then you take it and place it in a new environment where it doesn't have the support, like, from family or from, and you're not like included by the other people around you, and you're just a child, you start to feel unsafe. And that's when you start to try to protect yourself, like from feeling sad and feeling having negative thoughts. So because this negative thoughts and this sense of like insecurity, it's a consequence. It just comes because you don't have that safety around you. So it's not something that you just create. It happens because of your circumstances. And when you're just a child and nobody is really like explaining what is happening, nobody is like see you, and understand what you're going through. They just treat you like any other kid. So you start to think that there's something wrong with you, you start to blame yourself, like, Why am I insecure? Why am I scared? Why am I alone? Why am I sad? And like, I spent 7 years of my first life in Norway trying to protect myself and trying to, it's like a coping mechanism. You try to just survive. Like, you know you don't feel well in a certain place around certain people, but because you are obligated to go to this place, like school, for example, it was in my case, I just had to like, I kind of like try to seek refuge in my mind, and I was like trying to think that it will soon be over, that I'm only here for a temporary time and then I will go home. But the thing is that, this just creates like this chronic stress because you have to go to school every day. So it doesn't stop. Like the next day, you also have to try to find some kind of like a plan, how are you gonna rescue yourself from this very like inconvenient situation. Like you are somewhere where you don't want to be, and like this, it just, it kept going like for my first 6 years in school. And it was like I was the only foreigner in my class, and like nobody really like saw me or did anything to help me. But anyway, like, I mean, I'm an adult now, but I've always struggled emotionally, like ever since those years in school, and I don't think I have really like processed the situation, and nobody like acknowledged the fact that I was struggling, so it was like keeping a secret and keeping that secret for so many years. And then when I got older, I was deep inside, I had just built a lot of frustration and anger because like I had to just pretend just to survive. So like when everyone was done with school by the age of like 16, I'm talking about like this is my first stages of school, like primary and secondary school. So when normal kids finish, they're ready to take the next step and go to high school and, start to like build the foundation blocks for their future. And the first thing I wanted to, when I finished like secondary school, I just wanted to go away from that place, like I hated school, like, and then I came out with like really bad grades because I had been skipping school so much. And I just remember I burned my, like, this book that they give you, your grade book, like I just burned it because I was so angry and frustrated. It was like, I don't know. And then, so I hated school, and so I stayed like just hanging in the streets and not doing anything. And I had a lot of identity issues growing up. And there's been a lot. And then like very late in my adulthood, like when I was 38, so I insisted to get help from the health system because, I knew there was a lot of issues with me, like I had a lot of anger issues. And then, they rejected me. They said that I don't have any issues, you need to have you need to be crazy, whatever, diagnosed to get help. And then I just insisted on getting help. And I wrote letters explaining my situation. And when they finally accepted to take me in, I went to psychotherapy. And after a while, I was diagnosed with borderline, it's a personality disorder. And it's just the main like characteristic of borderline is that you have emotional instability, which kind of confirmed what kind of I was suspecting, that I had some of that, because all my life I've struggled with finding balance and just my emotions, and no one has really helped me to balance my emotions. And my parents, they divorced when we came here, and I didn't have any contact with my father. He was never really in my life to begin with when we were in Iraq. So he was just busy with his friends and whatever. And then when I stayed with my mom here in Norway, and then she married again when I was 17. And I had to move out because that new guy that she married, he was no good. So I just had to move out, and live by myself. And then she got a daughter, and, she was busy with the daughter and her husband. And so I kind of felt betrayed, because I still needed someone to take care of me. And I think to this day, today, although I'm 42 and I'm a grown up, but I still need um, I still need someone who can be a family, like a close person. Although I've managed okay, I managed to take up school when I got older, and then I managed to study at the university. I did a bachelor degree in child welfare. But the work was very demanding, working with kids with mental issues, I was struggling myself, so it just got too much. And don't ask me why I studied child welfare. It's just because I think deep down I wanted to understand my own situation. It's subconsciously you want to help yourself, so you choose to study something that will explain some of the circumstances that happen to you, and it can give you some answers to why you've turned out the way you are. But it's not like the job itself is very demanding, you know. It takes like someone who is confident, who has like, uh, who can like control their emotions, who likes to help others, and who has the energy and capacity to do it. And obviously, like, it was not the right options for me, so I just worked just for a year maybe, and then I quit. And ever since, like, I've just been living on like social benefits, and like the part where like I don't know, like I've been living here for so many years and like never really had any serious relationship. I've never really had any like real friendships. Maybe like when I was at earlier, I did get to meet a nice girl, you know. She was Norwegian and she was nice. She had been living abroad for many years. So she was like the open minded type. But I had so many like anger issues, you know, that she couldn't like, in the end, like, she couldn't take it because I was always complaining. I was always complaining to her, you know, and because like everything was, yeah, a lot of like things that people usually deal with because they have the resilience. I couldn't deal with it. So I was complaining a lot, and then she kind of like just withdrew, and she just kind of like ended the relationship. She stopped like replying to my calls, and then, you know, I kind of like instinctly like understood why she did it, you know. But at the same time, it's like really painful that people withdraw from you because you have like these anger issues. So that's why like I've been by myself for so many years. I guess like I was just, I don't want to be like, I don't want to be left anymore. So in all those years, like, what have I done to help myself? So like I mentioned, you know, I did ask for help. Like, I went to psychotherapy, but there's just so much that psychologist could do, or I don't know, but she gave me the diagnosis, and then I told her what I'm gonna do with my life. I don't know what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna get friends, and how I can find a job that I like and I can stay in. And then she said, you just have to just try, you know. There is no like, she said, like, there is no special thing that she could tell me because of my diagnosis that will help me, you know. She said, like, you just have to try, and I don't know. I think like if, and you know, I do yoga also. I do yin yoga and I meditate. And every day, you know, like before going to bed, and I say, thank you, I'm grateful for my life. So, I mean, and I'm really grateful, like, to live here in Norway. It's safe country, you know, it's, people are friendly, and people, you know, they treat you like equal, and we don't have like all these things that a lot of countries have, like criminality, and like if you don't have money, you know, the government will help you. It's a very good country, but you know, like if you are struggling emotionally, it can be hard to, I guess it will be a bit harder for you, because people here are usually kind of like, um, you know, they are like reserved. So